The following stream contains mature content and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody. As always, I am the Rebnos Archon. Thank you for being here for our third episode of Star Wars: A Plague of Shadows. And before we go into our recap, let's have the players introduce themselves and their characters.
I'm Junie Von Esch, and I am playing Nora Baymar.
I'm Kelly Salvo, and I'm playing Avix Fear.
Excellent. Last episode, we got to learn about who Nev actually is. That he comes from Coruscant money, that he's been on Ossus since his mother's murder. They learned that we had Avix look up where the Sunrider family was during the station attack. They learned that the facts of Umbria from the registry of the station, that they were headed there. They could feel the cold darkness pull from the planet's surface, from a body of water in particular, as they came into the atmosphere of Umbria itself. And they got to arrive to see the assault on Master Thon's abode from the pirates that were led by, and I cannot stress this enough that I did not come up with this name, but Finhead Stonebone. And they got to explode several bodies and learn the difference between character scale and starship scale, which is frightening if you've never played the West End version of Star Wars that we are playing. We're going to pick up right where we left off. Nev and Synthracia obviously are not here, so they have taken to moving into their quarters, given that they have taken the events and the push of the Force much differently than the two of you have. So they're going to be in their quarters for the majority of this. But we left off with the ship coming to a landing, Prague and Avix coming out after landing the ship with Master Doman Crow, and Nomi Sunrider having just killed whoever was taking the Adigan crystals from the house. Master Thon has descended the ridge with A3, Nomi's droid, and Nanny, caring for the child. And I open up the scene to the two of you and Nomi Sunrider with Master Thon.
Well, that was a bit of a fuck up. What the hell?
I'm at a loss for words, Captain.
Something, did you guys lose control? Or are you good? Or what the fuck?
Nomi steps forward. And as she does, the two of you can hear a hum. It's very light. It's an unknown but repetitive tune, very light. For Nora, there's a bit of synesthesia with it. It's almost like the hum is using the force to alter your perception of things, washing colors into your vision. What are we seeing through Nora's foresight?
What kind of colors is it forcing in, or what kind of emotions, I should say?
There is a mixture of distress, fear, reaching out, but there's also hope.
So
it's a very familiar hope for you.
Oh, goddamn. So you're looking at yellows, whites, blues, and a very dark black. And it's kind of, I would say something more of like putting down watercolors just to try and define the lines, define the shapes. It's not real set because the colors are constantly changing, splashing into each other.
Gotcha. The young woman turns off the lightsaber, looks down at it for a moment, one hand she has the lightsaber, and the other hand she has this sack of gems. And after a moment, she brings the lightsaber up and under her arm very carefully, very almost ritualistically. And she opens up the bag of crystals, and as the mouth of this bag opens wide, the humming intensifies. And so for Nora, the colors intensify. And you see Prague step past you. May I see these crystals, please? And Nomi suddenly realizes that you are there. And she pulls the bag close to her chest. I'm sorry. Who are you exactly?
Prague, what the fuck?
We are the crew of the Sunrise Crescent. We were hired by the Knights and Knight Doman Crow to come and find you.
You see that Doman is over by the large quadruped that is Master Thon, and he is fanboying, gushing. He is on his knees, just kind of asking him questions, and then just kind of like putting his head down, almost like he's listening to something that nobody else can hear. And Nora will see that there are pulses of the Force every time that Master Thon answers.
How close is Prague to us right now?
Within arm's reach. He's maybe a step or two ahead of the two of you.
Okay. I'm going to lean towards Nora and just as quietly whisper as I can. I don't know if I need a roll for that, of just say and try and say that Prague seems to be a bit obsessed with the stones. He was trying to dive the ship into the person who had it before. I'm not sure he's doing the same thing we are, Captain.
That's... Hi, I'm Captain Norma Baymar, this is Prague. And she tries to grab his arm and pull him back a bit.
Mhm.
Like, he's my navigation droid, but he's a little off, I think. I don't know why. I'm sorry, he's being rather forceful, and she's trying to give him the look of back the fuck off.
Mhm. He does not turn to look in your direction. And although that you've pulled his side of the body closer to you, he almost feels like he's defiant of you. Like he is trying to stand his ground. And there's a moment where you feel a shudder go through him, and then he takes another step forward. I mean you no harm. I simply wish to investigate the crystals.
It's not your place to do, Prague. It's not yours.
This is a question to Miss Sunrider. With all due respect, Captain, it does not concern you.
Beg your pardon?
And Nomi looks at the situation. Would this be better handled inside Miss Mastathon's house? Will they be back? And she points up, and you see the modified mining vessel kind of pulling up out of the lower atmosphere, and the tail kind of moving back, so it becomes a flat worm-like starship in the upper atmosphere. It looks like it's shifting into an orbital placement.
I have a feeling they might be back, but I'll tell you what. They have a hard on for those crystals, and I'm telling you, whatever the fuck is going on, I'm not getting. All I know is she'll just kind of point to the gems going, that's a whole lot of mess right now, emotionally, and I don't think it's really going to help anyone. Maybe going in would be great, so I don't have to watch fanboy over here go goo goo gaga over this.
And
I mean, seriously.
yeah, Nomi closes the sack, and the humming stops.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And she goes, very well. Just know that Mastathon has a difficult time talking to several people, given that his race is not verbal. I hope you don't mind dealing with him telepathically.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite ways of talking. Not really. I get it. It happens. We'll roll with it.
If it becomes too much for you, I have started to become a conduit for him. So sometimes I will translate what he wishes for people who have a hard time with it.
That would be absolutely fucking perfect. Excuse the swearing. I'm a little on edge right now. How are you?
She grabs the lightsaber and holds it by her side with a very strong grip. And she just kind of forces a smile and says, there have been better days.
Yeah, we're sorry for your loss. Between your husband and then apparently the other Jedi's now disappeared.
What Jedi's?
The one that was investigating the whole ass thing. Kill Kyle. Alex, do you remember his name or her name? Sorry. I'm a little scrambled at the moment. Crystal's scrambled brain.
I actually don't remember the name, but I'm sure Avix would actually remember it. So I'm sorry.
Kiltani Scour is the name.
There we go. Kiltani Scour, Captain. Jedi sent by the order to investigate the initial disappearance of Jedi from the planet. I believe, investigating Nomi. So I don't believe that they would have realized that Nomi would have known.
Well, now you do.
I think some tea is in order then.
Yeah, tell me you've got some alcohol too. That would be great. I think I need a strong one.
She looks over at Master Thon and then looks back at you and she says, I wish there were.
Great. Mental note. Buy more. Share. Got you.
Inside the abode, it looks simple, but you can also see where the home itself looks like a training ground. There is a sunken pit of a communal area that has these furs and hides strewn about in one of the more ovular little alcoves that very evident is where Master Thon kind of will sit or lie down or instruct from. There is a pair of chairs, and otherwise, there are a few ledges that look like they have been fashioned to sit people, almost like a couch. This whole place looks like it was supposed to be a bachelor pad for this quadruped and has been formed into something that it was never meant to do. Outside, you can see the far expanse. To one side is the kind of wasteland with what looks to be stone targets and a couple of circles of stonework as well that has kind of been placed. To the other side is the beginning of this chasm, this ravine, and the shadows that it casts, especially at this time of day, is very nice. The little bit of breeze that you get feels cool inside the house, since it's built out of the actual mountain, the ridge itself. But Nomi goes over and starts brewing some tea. Master Thon walks in and immediately kind of pads over to those skins, those furs, and just plops himself down like a big malamute of a dog. A Doman rushes over and just sits on the the step up from the sunken communal area, just happy as a clam. And this is the first time that you notice that it's just you and Avix. Everybody else is shifted over to the ship itself, and if you want, Nora, you will be able to see that there has been a toll taken on whatever they experienced. Both of them, very different emotions, but it definitely is a strong radiating force. The ship is swamped in colors. Excuse me. Thon, go ahead. No, go.
She'll put her whole... It's up to you. You want to go first? I'm cool with it. No worries, man. All right. It's just the delay and everything. Long and short, she'll just put her blaster in her holster, put her bow staff in behind, walk in, look around, be like, and then watch him fanboy. Mm-hmm. And she'll just go over to Ko, pull out her handkerchief and go, you missed a spot, like at her nose. That in here. Might want to clean up. And she'll walk over to see if she can help with tea.
Yeah. The moment you give him the handkerchief, he straightens up. And it's almost like he remembers, excuse me, that he is a Jedi Knight. Regardless of who he's around. Nomi thanks you. She's shows you where she keeps her herbs, where she has some of the spices and the sugars and the honeys, the kind of natural sugars, sweeteners. And Prague, you notice, has waddled over to you and her. If I may ask again, could I see the crystals? Nomi.
While this is going on,
Mhm.
Avix kind of wants to just look around because he felt that earlier what you were talking about. And just with all the behaviors and everything, he's getting kind of suspicious.
Mhm.
And he wants to see if he can perceive anything about Jedi Master Thawne, because something just feels off to him there.
Okay.
And so I don't know if it's perception or if it's his force sense thing or maybe a combination of the two. I don't know. Whatever you feel fits the situation better. But
yeah, if you reach out with sense, you will feel this very strong presence of force energy. It is leaning more to the light side of the force than anything else, but you can sense some coldness in him. If you want to try to perceive, to kind of try to read him, he is a quadruped, so he's more beast than humanoid. So there will be a difficult, it will be a difficult test for you. Just letting you know ahead of time.
I'll go ahead and do it.
You got it. 4 die plus 1. Not a bad roll. 10, 9, 19 plus 1 is 20. The way he is sitting, the way he's leaning, he's very much evidently put off by Dome and Crow. It is very clear that he did not expect to be assaulted by a fanboy. You almost imagine that the main reason that he's in a place like Umbria is to avoid people like Dome and Crow in the first place. And so every so often, like you'll see him grunt to let out this low roar, this low kind of growl. And every time that he does, you can sense him pulling on the force. Nora will see the color of him communicating with Nomi. And every time that he does, she straightens up like she's being jacked into the Matrix. There's always that sudden, like, oh, that's a presence in my head. And she will relay the information as best as possible. But she says, Master Thawne is intrigued by your droid's desire to see the Adigan crystals.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't know what's up, Crow.
Oh, please.
Can you stop fanboying and help?
He's showing me images of him pleased with himself. I don't understand what it means. I don't know how familiar you are with the way Master Thawne speaks, but it's like translating images. I don't get sentences. I have to try to discern how he feels from pictures, from memories. It's strange, but he seems happy that your droid is asking about the Adigan crystals.
Oh, okay. I've never met Master Thumb. Hi, hello. But I've never met him before, really. And so, no, I don't know how he communicates, but at the same time, he's happy that the droid is asking.
Yeah. And you feel a shower of images forced into your mind of just this field tall, yellowish grass that's about the side, comes up to you like about your chest. You can see what looks like a huge pack of these Chukthai, which is the race of Master Thon is. And instead of large cities, there's this communal feeling of belonging to this pack, this nomadic pack of people. Very clearly intelligent, very clearly able to process the thought of them not being alone in the galaxy. It is almost like discovering that elephants are a super extraterrestrial race of hyper intelligent creatures, and they've just been held back because of the language barrier. And there is this image of a young quadruped kind of sitting on this ledge overlooking a body of water and just feeling content.
Well, that was an experience.
He apologizes for the sudden intrusion, but he wanted to share his emotion with you. What color do you think that was bathed in, by the way?
Oh, that's like green, light greens, light blues, light yellows, maybe some puffs of light, maybe like a light purple or a light red, just kind of like to give it a coloring of like an impressionistic painting. Think Monet.
Yeah, and Avix will feel that sudden rush of the force, especially this close to someone like Mashathon. Doman Crow, whenever he's used the force, it's been very much just this kind of like lap of water that crashes against your chest. With Master Thon, there is this sense of an entire ocean daring to come crashing down on you any moment. And the only thing that is keeping you afloat is just that the little floaties or the life vest that is the force itself.
Okay. So why is he happy about the droid asking about the crystals?
Nomi shrugs. I can only interpret so much. Would it be okay if I show your droid the crystals? And immediately Prague's head turns in your direction.
Avex is just going to brace for something because it felt weird that Prague was like, it felt like he was going to dive the ship earlier and like literally run the guy over.
Yes.
And so Avex is, I'm just bracing for whatever because it feels like something could be happening here.
She'll look at Prague and go, question. What is your need to see the crystals are for?
It is a theory that I am simulating.
Elaborate.
He tilts his head. There is only so much that I can tell you without the need to have a processor of your own, Captain.
I'm sorry. What?
The thought process of a lesser being is not as advanced as it needs to be.
Are you saying we're lesser beings?
You are made of flesh.
Yeah, and you're made of parts. Spare parts, I might add. Are we going tit for tat on this?
It tilts its head in the other direction. The lady asked you a question, Captain.
How many crystals are you requiring to look at Prague?
My theory just needs to see if there is one in particular
you need to define so she can show you that one in particular. Show him at
It
least
should
one.
not be difficult to just dump the contents of her bag on the table, Captain.
Ew. That would be rude. Make her mess up her place? No, that's right. You're not a protocol droid. Just show them one at a time if that's okay. I don't want you to dump all your crap all over the place. That's just mean and rude.
She goes, I'm it's fine. I don't. And she will grab the sack and just very gently put her hand out as a stop and gently let all of the crystals come out. And the moment they come into view of the sun, the little bit of sunlight that's streaming through the cracks in the walls, through the windows, they are amazing to look at. As far as Avix is concerned, they're colorful. It's like each stone itself is a rainbow with one dominating color that just kind of stands out. Excuse me. And as the light refracts, as it hits it, it just will flare up with all these other colors. And there is one. Most of the crystals are about the size of a small, a leaf bottle, like a little tiny thing, maybe about the size of a thumb, as far as height is concerned, and about as thick as 2 or 3 fingers. There's one crystal in particular that does not have the color change. It is very clear, almost a grayish, smoky quartz. It looks like it is 2 crystals that have kind of one dominating spire and then one that's kind of shooting off, and then a little circle of pokey bits, almost like ferrous fluid, that has been caught in a permanent state of solidity. And the moment it comes out, the humming starts again. And Prague steps forward towards the table. It has been some time, little one. And he points at it, looking straight at Nomi. May I take this one? And you see there's not an insult had in her face, but there is a kind of hurt that these are the crystals that her husband was murdered over, and that this droid would just casually ask for one to be given to it.
Avix, or I'm going to like step up and kind of project calm as much as I can and just say there seems to be something different about that one. It feels different.
It is different.
I think he's interested in just that one.
And you see Prague nod.
What's with that one? And why is it humming so much?
And Nomi looks at you. I don't hear anything.
She uses telekinesis. And okay. If fuck.
It's gray. The other ones they're full of colors, but that one is gray.
Yeah, I just rolled 14 plus 1, 15 to just lift it up into the air. I used my force power.
Okay.
And she just kind of goes, that one.
Yeah.
That one's just...
So all of you will feel Nora calling on the force. Is this the first time you've done this?
Telekinesis. Yep.
I mean, like called on the force during the game, because you've tried to stay away from it.
Yeah, nope, this is his first time.
All right.
So sorry.
No.
He did do that investigation thing at the planet.
Yeah, but that
with
was
the
just
Force.
that was piggybacking off of somebody else.
Piggyback.
Yeah.
Fair.
So Avix will feel the Force being pulled on from Nora's direction. Prague turns to look at Nora as well. And even Thon kind of pulls himself up from his sitting position and just has this tilt of a head. And there's this low growl, long, not threatening, but very much animalistic in nature.
Oh, she's just raising it up off the thing. She has no intention of taking it.
Yeah. No. There's also this emphasis, this kind of push to aid in Avix's kind of desire for calmness. And there will be a calm that washes over everyone. And Prague will look over at Thon and nod. And then you see him put his hand very gently underneath where you're holding the crystal up in the air.
What is that?
And just very softly, the softest you've ever heard him, you can let it go, Captain.
She's trying to actually make it towards Naomi so she can grab it, but right now she's not trusting Prague, but whatever.
Yeah, as it moves, like his hand just stays with it. It's very delicate. It's not like he wants to grab it out of the air. He's just holding it out like a cradle. Palm up, fingers delicately ready to accept the parcel.
What is it? Why is it humming? I don't get it.
Excuse me. And you will notice that you in particular, because Avix hasn't heard the hum again, you will notice that the hum takes on a much more jovial tone. The colors coming out of it radiate joy, peace, a reunification, sense of home.
Nope. Mm-mm. She'll just set it down as she can.
Okay. And he very gently will just close the fingers on it as it lands in his hand, in its hand. And he will look down at it and just, if a droid could show awe, there is this sense of pure, unbridled awe that radiates out from Prague. And Thun nods his approval.
Captain, did
Norman
Prague
shoots up.
belong to your mother before you?
Would Nor know that?
He did come with the ship.
Motherfucking.
So
I think so. I don't remember. Kind of. It was a long time ago. I kind of drowned that out in the first couple of years of flying and finishing up stories, my studies, and alcohol. Lots of alcohol.
I look over at Jedi Master Thon and just kind of go, did you meet Prague when he was with Nora's mother?
It shakes its head, and Nomi again sits up. There's
No.
images of what I assume is your mother, Nora, with Thon. I believe they were friends. There's an atmosphere of friendship, and Thon nods.
You knew my mom. Did you know she was a mom?
He nods.
I need a drink.
And Prague turns in your direction. It has pained me, Captain, to see how far you have fallen.
Fuck you. Fuck you down to your core. You have absolutely no fucking clue what I've gone through. I have a mind to step out of here and just walk. I have a feeling you're going to follow me.
I have need of your ship, Captain.
The fuck you do? The fuck are you going to do with my ship?
Take this home. And it holds up the crystal.
What home?
He looks around, and it almost looks like he's calculating something. There is a planet that this crystal belongs to. I must see it delivered.
Why?
It was your mother's last desire.
So you have my mom's will and testimony in your fucking banks.
I do not.
Well, then how do you know what my mom wanted? Were you there when she died?
I was.
Motherfucking...
And Thon steps towards Nora and just kind of puts his big head against your hip, reassuring. And there's just this emotional wash of assurement, just letting you feel like things will be okay.
She's just trying to keep herself calm so she doesn't lose it. And she's losing this battle because she's starting to get her legs starting to move like she needs to walk, she needs to move, she needs to do something.
Captain, I understand that a lot of this is things you'd rather not think about, but I believe something important is going on here. And I'm just going to try and project calm and reassurance as much as I can.
You
now
can
have
do
two
that.
sources of calm and reassurance.
I understand what you guys are trying to do, but it doesn't help processing the emotions any easier. You do not understand. I'm already feeling emotions. I'm already seeing a whole bunch of shit in colors. You're adding on to me being slightly blinded, ironically enough, more than I already am. So wait, you're going to try.
I'm not using any force powers. I'm just saying.
Oh, no. I get you.
No.
The one is, the other one isn't, but still, yeah, emotional damage. God damn it. Instead of calling you Will, we should just call you Uncle Roger. Damn.
I'll take it.
Look, that could be used for somebody else's saber. Why would we put it to a planet where we can't utilize it again for somebody else, another Jedi? Mom would have known that.
This is correct.
And she would have accepted that.
So she must have someone on that planet she wanted it to go to, if she told her droid to take it there.
Dora's looking at Prague because apparently Prague's got a whole lot of shit that he knows that he hasn't shared.
Mm-hmm. And Prague just tilts his head. I do not understand the complexity of the task.
Okay, when were you ever going to share this with me? We've been going
It
around for
has
how
never
long?
been asked of me.
But I never knew to ask.
You have also ignored your mother's teachings.
I have not. You weren't there when I was doing business deals and looking at artifacts and stuff. How do you know? Are you watching me secret? Are you spying on me?
It does not take a spy to know that you are not the Jedi she wanted you to be.
All I have to point out is they never got back to me. How long was I supposed to wait?
And you see him turn and look at Thawne. And Thawne just kind of shrugs his big shoulders, lets out this snort of a sigh, and then he goes back to his little corner and plops down.
Hey, we got a ship. We've been making money. We've been staying alive. What more do you want me to do? And I can't believe I'm talking to a droid like if you were my mom.
I am not. You do not have to feel that way.
Well, you just claimed I haven't cleaned my room in like centuries. Seriously?
I do not understand the analogy.
Maybe if we got you a personality, you would understand. Nora, help me out here, please.
Nomi just kind of collects the crystals back into her bag. I'm not sure how that even got into my husband's collection, to be honest. I have no recollection of ever finding that one.
Well, my mom's been dead for what, 15, 16 years? Something like that. And the weird thing is I have her. Son of a bitch. They took it out of her lightsaber.
Have you ever tried to turn it on?
No. Why would I want to try and turn it on? Just hand a newborn infant a blaster and say, go, pew pew over there. I know better than that.
And you see
Joe on a
Prague.
cracker.
Prague will hold out his other hand. Would you like me to turn it on?
You took it from the place I hide it at?
I did not. But I have my hand awaiting, should you desire someone else to use it.
You know how to use a lightsaber.
I am not an infant with a gun.
So many ways I want to punch you so hard right now. God damn it. Fine. She'll grumble and leave the place and go into the ship to go get it.
Mm. You and Avix, while Nora goes out to get her hidden stash, you'll notice that Prague is holding the cluster very carefully. Like there is not only does it feel like reverence, but it also feels the same way that Nomi holds her child Vima is the way that Prague is holding this cluster. There is a care to it, and he tries as much as possible to keep it close to where the sternum would end on his frame.
Frog, is there something special about that crystal to you? Not just because it was Nora's mother's?
This did not belong to Soasta.
Who did it belong to?
If anyone can lay claim to that, it is me.
Frog, where are you from?
That is a long and arduous story.
I would love to hear it sometime.
Perhaps it could be arranged. On the
Jedi
ship.
Master Thon. Oh, go ahead.
Go.
Jedi Master Thon, have you ever heard of a droid who used Adagan crystals?
It snorts and grumbles a bit and lets out a low growl. And Nomi shakes like somebody walked over her grave. There's a sense of negation about his images. I don't think that is an actual Adagan crystal. It doesn't feel the same to me, at least. I can't imagine it would feel any different to somebody that is trained. And Doman does kind of pipe up at this moment. He's just like, yeah, that's given off different vibes entirely, different energies. I could sense the little bit of force that's honed into the Adagan crystals. It seems like Mr. Sunrider was working on his attunement to some of the crystals. That doesn't have the same vibrancy. Yeah, I think is the best word that I can use for that. And Thon puts one of his paws on Doman's knee approvingly, and Doman melts. He is just like, oh my God, I got. There's approval from Master Thon. Just under his breath, super excited about just being validated by a Jedi Master. But Nora will come back at this point.
She's come back with the help. She does know how to turn this on. She's not going to actually like swing the lightsaber.
Sure.
But she'll just go, fine, here it is. And then she'll just do a flick and turn it on.
There is the traditional click hum, and this vibrant blade shoots out from the emitter. What color is your mother's lightsaber?
Blue.
And what emotion do you think she left imparted into her crystal for you, since this is probably one of the first times you've ever used it?
It's the first time period. There was a lot of potential, a lot of hope, and a lot of goodwill and hoping, and again, hoping that she would walk down the path her mom did if she was put into the Jedi Academy.
What color do you think she took extra care to make sure that she imprinted on this gem?
a light pink because she loved her. And she was the most important person in the world next to her husband.
There is this feeling almost reminiscent of the final first season episode of Sailor Moon when she fights Queen Beryl, where she holds out the wand and everybody's hand kind of comes on top of Selena's. You can feel your mother's hand. You can feel your father's hand. Just nothing has ever felt more right than this moment. And just as quickly as it comes, it's gone.
It works.
It does.
She's just holding because it's the whole emotional thing right now.
Yeah. And Prague looks over in your direction, looks at the room, and I feel like I can now trust you with this information. And he hits a couple of buttons, and you see this little line suddenly come down his chest. There's this smoke that comes out, and it opens up. And sitting in a cradle of machinery with this little kind of salad bowl of technology and sensors and little pieces with wires running back and forth is this massive, similar, clear gray quartz mist of a cluster, easily taking up the entire inside of this droid. Allow me to introduce myself. And the moment he says that, he drops all the masking that he's been holding up, and there is this wave of force energy that shoots out from him. And the droid itself looks out, and the crystal vibrates like it's pulsing like a heartbeat, and the little cluster matches the pulse. I am actually a shard from the planet Orax. My original designation was ED57. This cluster is one of the last remnants of my first offspring.
Offspring?
Now you understand why I have to take this home. And the droid looks over at Avix. That is the cleanest word I can use to represent it.
Oh, God.
Is Avix's computer skill any use to him in trying to figure out whether the droid itself is actually even like a normal droid? Like, obviously not a normal droid, but like, is it even being operated the way by the same kind of circuitry that a droid would normally operate by, or is there something else driving it, and this is more like a robot being controlled by some other being?
It is the latter. Anything that would have been inside of the droid itself, operating systems, the hard drive, the collection of servos and everything, most of them are still there to help kind of with movement and everything, but everything is wired to the salad bowl that is this seat for the crystal. It's also the interface that connects the crystal to the bowl to the droid. You've never seen anything like this.
Definitely not. Captain, I don't believe your droid is a droid.
I am not.
Really? Really? You don't think he's a droid? I need a drink and I need to sit down for a moment. She's turned off the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I have questions. Lots of questions. So many questions. At the same time. Processing this? This makes sense why you're like my mom at times, because you're yelling at me.
And you see his right thigh opens up like RoboCop, and a little shoot comes out, and he pulls out his own lightsaber and turns it the same shade of blue as your mom's.
Oh, motherfucking crap. What?
My true name is ED57, Jedi Knight.
ED57.
You may
Do you
call
know,
me
were they
ED.
after Edie? Do you know, were they after the rest of the Adigan crystals, the people who were trying to get them? Or were they really after your crystal?
I believe this hut was after my cluster. And he'll turn off his lightsaber and resheath it in his thigh. You also will notice that he doesn't have an Adigan crystal in his lightsaber. Especially Nora, there's a different vibrancy that comes from it. There's a different wavelength entirely. This feels much more in line with what the Force should be as it comes to Jedis. And I think, what would the connection of a Jedi to a Kyber crystal look like to her?
There's a saying that the soul and the body is connected. Core connected to the Jedi, and
Nomi comes over with some tea as you're dealing with everything. And she leads you to one of the chairs, and she sits down on the other one. You see that her protocol droid is taking care of her daughter. And once you are sitting down, the casing will close on Edie. This is a lot to take in.
it's a lot to take in. So much. What you just said was an understatement. Were you never going to say anything until I ignited that lightsaber?
There were parameters in place.
Let me guess. Mom.
He shakes his head.
Whose?
They were my own.
So then why didn't the council ever get a hold of me? after they left.
This is partly my fault.
What? How is it partly your fault?
The visions I saw after your mother's death made me choose not to take you to Ossus.
So you just let Dad waste away?
There are sacrifices that have to be made.
That's unacceptable. He was not a sacrifice to be made.
I do not share these emotions.
I mean, I could really make sure you feel them right now.
For as long as I have lived, Captain, there are still things that elude me.
Yeah, you
How
wanna
long
give me
have
time
you
to feel
lived,
those
Edie?
emotions.
I am currently in my second century of life.
$200 and you don't know how I feel.
Emotions are different for me and my species.
Mm-hmm. Okay. She just takes a very long drink of tea before she says anything else.
Yep.
I'm going to try and give Nora time to process and look over at yeah, Jedi Knight Crow and just kind of like gesture or nod or something to be like, what would the Order on Ossus want us to do with this new information? I mean, not that I think Nora's gonna not just do what she wants anyway, but I'm just trying to stall to give her time and
Right,
look
no,
at.
I've read the room as well. I'm trying not to get involved. Procedure dictates that we have to catalog this new species, especially given that it clearly has force abilities, and we would have to include the planet in the registry with the Republic, and immediately Prague, Edie steps forward. This will not come to pass.
Edie said he was already a Jedi Knight. Wouldn't that mean the Order is already aware of him?
Doman's like, I've never heard of a shard or the planet Orax.
With all due respect, Sir Knight, this seems like something that might be deeply hidden.
As far as I would like to believe, the Jedi don't deal with secrets. We try to be an open organization to make sure that everyone has equal access to learning, to knowledge. It doesn't behoove anyone to keep something like this a secret. And he stands
I've
up
not been
and
around things for long, but that, and I'm just going to look at Jedi Master Thon and be like, because Avix hasn't been around for long, he doesn't know much about the Jedi, but secrets are something that he's heard all about with the Jedi, and so he's just kind of looking at Jedi Master Thon going, really?
And the Doman will step forward. Edie, who was your Jedi Master? And without hesitation, Edie turns towards him. His name was Jethrak Kiln. He was a coin knight. And Doman kind of tilts his head. He looks around and he comes back and he's like, I have no recollection of a Jethrak kiln in our registry. And I don't understand what a coin knight is. And Edie kind of nods. As I have said, this is a long story.
You might want to do the Spark Notes version.
He takes a moment and you see him looking at you, looking at Doman, looking at Nomi. He looks at Avix, he looks at Thon, and he looks back at you. The story of my arrival at your mother's side is fantastical, to say the least. It would be easier to show you when we arrive on Orax.
Are we taking everyone?
I would prefer it if Master Crow, Master Thon, and Miss Sunrider and her daughter stayed behind. The less people know about Orax, the safer it'll be. And immediately Doman Crow shoots forward. It's like, well, hold on. If there's a planet, we need to add it to the registry, and we need to make sure that your people are cataloged correctly so that they can be placed in the
Crow.
republics.
Do you know all the categories and all the registries by heart?
No, but races are a thing that I take great pleasure in understanding and trying to learn as many as I can. Sentient races in particular.
Well, who's to say that this isn't already in the registry, and therefore you could totally like skip this and fanboy with Mr. Thon and soak up all of his knowledge?
And Edie looks at him and looks back at you. I can assure you he is correct. Orax does not exist in the registry.
Oh, fucking Christ.
And Doman just kind of points at him. You see, like, this is groundbreaking things.
Mm-hmm.
We have a chance.
Perhaps it doesn't exist for a reason. I understand your desire for knowledge, but maybe this knowledge is dangerous to others. Maybe there's a reason it's been kept as it is.
I don't think that that's our decision.
No, clearly it was my mother's. It was his master's. They're wiser than us, yes?
Doman shrugs and looks at Thon. I have to be making sense to you, don't I? Like, this is bigger than we are. And Thon looks at him and then looks out the window and just kind of rests his head on like his paws and just lets out a long sigh. And Nomi just kind of smiles. I don't need to translate that. I can tell you that right now.
I'm going to look at Edie. Edie, I suspect it may be easier to convince Sir Knight Crow to keep your secrets if he's aware of why they need to be kept. He already knows perhaps more than is wise for someone to know. And we can't undo that now.
I
Maybe
see now
if we
what
kept
I
him...
must do, and you feel this pulse of force energy come out of Edie. And excuse me, there's a moment where you see Doman just kind of like furrow his brow. He brings his hand up to his head, and then after a moment, you see the eyes roll back, and he just collapses. I recommend we leave with haste. I do not know how long I have put him to sleep, and you see Edie start to make his way out of the house.
Oh, fuck a duck. Namek, can we leave him here with you? Briefly. He'll fanboy again over Thon. I apologize, Master Thon. But he's going to fawn over you guys and allow us to do what we need to do. Because clearly, we've got to go now.
I understand, and
I'm sorry.
of course.
If I could pay you to babysit, I would. But clearly, I haven't gotten paid for my last job, so I can't pay you.
It's no need. Safe travels.
Oh, jeez. You know what? I will try and find alcohol on the way back. I promise. I will try. You have no idea how bad I need a drink right now.
Sure. What is Avix doing?
Avix is just trying to think of... He's trying to be the one who isn't like super emotionally involved at this point. So he's just kind of looking at Nomi and trying to think of plans and going, is there anything else we can do? You know?
I don't think there is. This is all new and unfamiliar territory for me. My husband was supposed to be the one to become the Jedi of the family. I didn't have this planned for myself or my daughter at all. So now we're here.
Avex, let's go. Come on. Shake your tail
yes,
like
Captain.
you mean
it.
Okay. And as you board the Sunrise Crescent and take off from Umbria for parts unknown, I think this is a good point to go to break for today. So we will see you guys when we come back. Bye. Ooh, what an exciting day it's been for them. But we pick up right where we left off before heading to break. So I hope everybody's buckled up, gotten something to drink, and emptied what's full and filled what's empty. But we jump forward. It's going to take you the better part of a month to get out into the Outer Rim where Orax is. Are you looking to stop and restock anywhere or push your resources as far as they'll go?
When we get down to 1/4, then she'll pull over, probably at one of the rim worlds or somewhere close that she knows she can trade.
Okay.
So that she can at least push as much as she can, but not to the point of exhaustion or of starvation.
That'll add another week to your trip. And once you get into what is considered a wild space for you, you see that Edie takes over the piloting and sets up a bunch of micro jumps. And through the month, you will find out that Edie was a member of a group of ragtag individuals like yourselves. He helped to stymie an organization that was trying to do nefarious things to rise to power. He had a ship that was called the Neverwhere, whose captain was a Sullustan named Philid Grilled. He had a crew complement of a Dr. Xylus Shahakti, a an engineer from Najiba called Gardef Zor, and they had a nefarious kind of figure who called himself Silas Winchester. But with much delight, Edie talks about how he managed to find out the secret of who Silas Winchester really is, and how one of the biggest life-altering events in their life, was helping to save Silas's sister and Dr. Shahakti's niece from a ploy by a dark presence that was starting to spread over the galaxy. Excuse me. None of the names and none of the events that he talks about ring any bells, historically speaking. The only thing that really kind of gives some familiarity is whenever he talks about the core worlds, like how he's been to Corellia, how he's been to Coruscant, and he talks about the Jedi from a Coruscant perspective. He talks about always having to go back to Coruscant to deal with the Jedi and whatever missions they were sending him on. He even talks about having a Padawan at one point that he was hopeful would take to the Jedi arts, given his questionable past, but had to separate from him, unfortunately. And for everything that he does tell you, he doesn't tell you anything about Orax or the shards, or how he propagated a cluster off of himself. He tries to skirt around it or completely negate that conversation altogether. But when you finally arrive, excuse me, Orax looks like, from space, a typical terrestrial planet. There's a few bodies of water, but it's mostly land. And as he brings the ship down into a clearing, he points out into what looks like a forest as you're coming down. And as you get closer, you will notice that the trees that at first glance look like pointed evergreens are crystals. The mountains that take up entire swaths of land in the distance, once you fly over them, you see are crystals. The land itself is crystalline. And you almost imagine what the water must be if the land is crystalline in nature. But as he lands the sunrise crescent, there's a soft thud. He gets up out of the captain's seat. This is as close as I can get her, Captain. We will have to go on foot from here.
Do you want to go alone or you want us to go with you?
You can come with me if you would like. Your mother would have liked to have shown you this herself, I think.
All right. Nora hasn't asked any questions this entire month.
Okay.
She just lets Tim She just has AD give her whatever information they want to share. She doesn't ask any questions.
Yeah.
She's just getting over all the shit that she's just been told.
I assume that people just asked typical questions of meeting new people for the first time.
Avix has been asking lots of questions.
Yeah. And he's told you that, typical, easily leapt at conclusions about him. He can't eat. He doesn't have to sleep. He is in tune with the Force. But he does tell you that he has tasted ice cream and that it is something that he enjoys. He does try to refer himself as a masculine persona, but he will always correct himself and call himself they, them, or it. He doesn't do it to anybody else, but always is cognizant about it for himself. Would you guys like to explore Orax with Edie? Or are you letting him do his own thing?
Oh, Avix is walking out and just looking around wide-eyed at everything. He is the quintessential...
Weapons,
Say that again, Judy?
we don't need weapons, do we?
I do not believe so. Okay. My race is peaceful.
Okay.
We cannot exactly attack you unless we fall on top of you, and then we apologize.
I'm not the one wielding a lightsaber.
Are you threatened by my lightsaber, Captain?
No. But you're saying you're peaceful. You do have a weapon on you. Hence why I'm making sure.
My race is peaceful. I was taken from this planet.
Edie, how many of these crystals are just crystals, or are all of them people of your race?
Oh God, yeah. Are we gonna step on them?
You will.
Shit.
Everything is connected. We are a hive of like-minded organisms. Every mountain is a hive. Every tree is a hive. There are hives within hives from how much we have grown on top of each other to propagate our species.
So do we have to say sorry to everyone we're stepping on?
You do not have to. I will convey your expressions.
Okay, cool. Because, I'm all about walking on people, especially when they're assholes, but they're not assholes, so I don't want to walk all over them.
I have decidedly tried not to be an asshole, Captain.
Jury's out on that one.
And as you step out, the light of the burning, slowly transitioning to red sun that they have in their center, it gives you this very fractalized color variation as you step. It is almost dizzying to someone like Avix. Nora doesn't get that. There's just the flat plainness, the kind of juts here and there of the natural outcroppings of how some of the hives are expanding. But for Avix, who sees color wavelengths, it is incredibly trippy. Not to pun myself, but every step suddenly bursts and reacts with different colors. Every shift of your head changes the landscape, the floor itself. You can see why some would consider this a dangerous place. And Edie just kind of wobbles along. If you need assistance, I will be happy to hold your hand.
He can put his hand on my shoulder if he needs it.
I'm just going to like whenever we're moving, I'm looking down at the ground and trying to carefully navigate around and make sure that anything I step on is like a large solid crystal. And I don't want to, like, I'm worried about if there's any small ones. I don't want to step on them. So
it is slow going for
I'm looking
Avix.
down, trying to be careful.
Yeah.
But then if we're ever stopped, I'm looking all around and just kind of in awe at everything.
Yeah.
But when we're moving, I'm looking down and just being very careful.
More than once, you have to fight off the sensation of vomiting. But as you come down from the clearing, you do a little bit of a hike. You can see natural outcroppings that mimic foliage, like bushes, flowering trees. For everything being unnatural and very much in the vein of hard lines, there's a very distinct beauty to everything here. Nora will notice that everything is flat as far as color is concerned. Here and there, you will see little nodes where a cluster developed force sensitivity. Here and there, you'll see those bursts of color that come from the shards using the force to call on it to guide the growth, and each force sensitive cluster has a different hum associated with them. And it is pleasant. It is not obtrusive. They are not trying to force their song into you. But now you notice that Edie doesn't have a song. His cluster does. His little grandchild of a cluster has a hum, but he doesn't.
Nora might also like absently just pick up on one of their hums and just like hum herself, just like something, because she's trying to stop the brain weasels from going further in her head.
If you are audible enough, you will notice that the tiny cluster starts to follow your hum. And as it starts humming along with you, the clusters that are closest to you start to shift in their hums until slowly, one by one, every candlelight of force, every hum that was a cacophony of noise in this one melody gets on board. And there is this orchestration of music. And there is this sudden wave of color that washes over every shard, every single one of them. And the hum becomes this almost glorious hymn. It is like you are not in the audience, of like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You are dead in the center of all of this music, all of these instruments, and every cluster represents a different instrument, all playing the same song, all of them making this planet come to life for you. What do we see through Nora's eyes?
There's a movie. It's done in, I think, like the It was like 1940 or so. I'm sure you know it, Fantasia. That whole movie of just color, not the actual like movements or animations for different things. It's just the whole color palette, just splashing left and right and center, depending on which one took the trombone, what one took the wood, the strings. Even the clashes have color. And she's not realizing she's doing it. She's just thinking, oh, this is just their way of doing things. And she just kind of just joined in. She doesn't think she's leading nor orchestrating this.
For Avix, there is no hum, but you notice that as it builds up for Nora, the coloring starts to become normalized. It's as if everything is starting to become easy for you. The ground is one shade. As you go deeper, it becomes darker. As you go up, it becomes lighter. The trees are a different color. The mountains become a different color. Everything starts to kind of pulsate like a heartbeat, but it's not following a rhythmic beat. It's following the hum. So sometimes the colors will stay solid for longer than others. And there's a moment
Something
where,
changed.
yeah, Edie stops and turns to you guys. This is why I wanted to bring you here.
Huh?
And the moment she says that, everything goes back.
Captain, what was that? Everything is now again very,
puts his hand on her shoulder.
very like a kaleidoscope, Captain. But for a while there, it stilled. It was the same. It became calm. It came together.
It's been a whole splash of color all over the place for me.
Your mother was the first non-shard that was brought to Orax. They are reacting to you as if you were her.
Shit.
This is
Because I
an
look
honor.
like her?
Yes.
Fuck. It's an honor.
And as you continue walking, does Nora bring up the hum again?
Absentmindedly, just to, again, stop brain weasels, try and keep her mind busy. Yeah, she does it subconsciously. She's not doing it on purpose.
Okay. It's hard to pick back up because the shards have gone quiet. Once you stopped the orchestra, everything has gone quiet again.
That's fair for her. She's just going right back to where she left off and just starting to hum again as if she hadn't stopped. It's just right back.
Give me a willpower
I'm assuming
roll.
the psychedelics came back.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm very much like it's that much worse again because I got a break from it and now it's worse again.
Yeah, this time it's like somebody strapped kaleidoscopes to each eye and has twisted them in different directions.
That's a mood.
Oh.
4 die plus 1 for your willpower. Let's see how you handle emotional damage.
16?
Okay. As you try to call up the tune, you haphazardly pick pieces of it. It's somewhat frustrating because you could have sworn it was something that you remember and it was on the periphery of your memories. And then it becomes your mother's lullaby.
Excuse me while I drink.
Mm-hmm. And for the first verse, it kind of goes by unrecognized. And as you're coming into the second verse, it hits you what you're singing, what you're humming. How does this affect Nora? And what emotion would you be putting out, or emotions?
She had loved the tune, but she feels lost. And it's not the sense of lost, of like she's lost her mom. It's that she's lost and she doesn't know where to go. She still feels the love she has for her mom, and that's what's letting her continue on humming the song. She misses it. She misses a happier time. And there's the happy emotions and the sense of longing in there.
There is a wash of pink that starts to emanate out from every one of Nora's steps, solidifying the ground beneath you, letting Avix kind of have better control over his steps. And then starts to wash out with light blues, light greens, light yellows. But every step just gives you a brief flash of just this solid radius of color that you can feel at ease in. And after a while of this, you come to what looks like a body of water. And as Edie steps into it, you notice that there's no waves. There is the very clear light refraction of something being pushed and giving way to each of his feet and then coming back together. It's almost like gelatin, the way it spreads out and convalesces back together again. And to Avix, it looks like he's walking towards a half circle, perfect half circle of pure, flat crystal of a hive. To Junie, to Nora, there is a collection of concentric circles. There are circles that descend down into the jello water. Excuse me. There's circles that create rings, concentric rings, and there's different elements of design, but you will notice that there is a clear image etched into the crystal itself. And there is what looks to be an older human, very reminiscent of Doman Crow. His hand is around the shoulder of a female whose outline is very reminiscent of your mother's. And then there is a child to their other side that is someone you've never met before. Their features are angular and strange to you, alien, not human, not near human, not Meralucan. It's a race that you don't recognize. Their hair almost feels like it could be seaweed. And as he gets over to it, you see him bend down, bring his cluster to his vocal speaker, and then he places it underneath it. Excuse me, where the ground touches the jello water, the gelatin water. And when he does, both of you will see all of the rings light up one after the other from the center out. And slowly, each ring will start turning. Some will turn clockwise, some will turn counterclockwise, until there is this loud thud that reverberates for what you imagine is a mile at least out from you. And Edie looks back at the two of you. It is my time to go home. I will be leaving you in good hands. The path ahead of you will be dangerous. And two Avics, you will see that each ring, starting from outward in, slides back and then goes down. Slides back and then goes down. Excuse me. Nora will see that they're just descending just above the waterline. Beyond this half circle of what is now a cavern, it looks like space, infinitesimally spreading out from this point. You will see this beautiful collection of what looks to be shooting stars that have been arranged in a bridge, and standing there holding what looks to be this box of droid parts is a Maris, tall, oblong head, dark blue skin, almost with almost purple in places, but leaning more towards light blue towards the fingertips. Wearing what looks to be a collarless white shirt with a few of the buttons undone, a vest with a top button undone, a long duster of a cloak, and these slacks, and what looked to be very nice shoes compared to the rest of the ensemble. And on his hip, about halfway down the thigh, you will notice that there is a blaster. And as the last door comes down, the last part of the doorway comes down, he looks out. Took your time, didn't you? And Edie looks back at the two of you. My friends, this is Jairus Randuel. He is known as the Gunslinger, Silas Winchester. He goes, yep, give me a second. And behind him, what looks to be a box that he was sitting on, he suddenly gets up, touches the box, and the box itself starts to transform into this humanoid shape, into this host body that looks like it has built into it that salad bowl of a cradle. And he very carefully will hold out his hands and he goes, all right, I want you to know that I gotta pull you out. And you hear Edie, I am aware this is what friends are for. And Silas looks at him for a moment and goes, every time that I think that I should not have shot you. You remind me why I'm glad that I shot you. And he carefully laughs and reaches out and pulls Edie out of his cradle and puts him very carefully, very very much as a friend would to another friend, puts him into his cradle, connects him to the droid body. And as the chassis closes, you will notice that on his chest, he very much part of the design of how his chest is kind of laid out on the body is the Jedi symbol that people will come to know in the time of Luke Skywalker and the Republic. But you see him moving from side to side, gyrating his shoulders, moving, and then he reaches out, touches a button inside the body of Prague, and the thigh opens, his lightsaber comes out, he grabs it, and then the thigh on his actual body opens and he sheaths his lightsaber and it closes up. He holds up his hand very very much in a kind of wave goodbye, and the droid that he's in now looks nothing like the droids that you are used to. This droid looks very human-like, very much like almost, to give you an idea, the Battle Angel body from the movie. It's very sleek, very proportioned, very much against the rules and regulations of how droids have to appear. And as he steps through the archway into what is this cosmos on the other side of this archway, Silas steps out with the box of droid parts. The now empty husk of Prague falls back and just kind of floats on top of the jello. Very much like a Newtonian liquid. Like the second he impacts, it kind of just stays there, and then it just starts to float until the buoyancy is met. And slowly, each of the discs comes back up and reseals itself, until the last one closes this world beyond the worlds that you just got a glimpse of. And the image now becomes very visible to Avix of the female. It is familial in the resemblance that it has to Nora. And as it steps out, there is this pulse of force, as if something is pulling hard on the force itself. And this force ghost, for lack of a better word, comes over, steps out of the archway, and as she brings her hand down to touch the cluster that Edie placed, both of you will feel her desire to nourish, her desire for this to grow, for it to fulfill its place in the universe, for it to be what it needs to be. And there is a sense that she's not just wishing this on the cluster. And as she does this, you will see that the cluster itself and the clusters around the archway start to grow towards each other, as if they're being urged to hide this from anyone and everyone. And as she is doing this, you will notice that her form starts to burn, as if she is using everything that she had to make herself known is being poured into this cluster, into this endeavor. And once the crystals have touched and this cluster has grown to cover the archway, there's a new song that plays. And it's very much the lullaby. And there's very little left of Soasta Dendron. And she steps forward. And the burning embers that are what's left of her forced hand just kind of come up and put themselves very warmly, very caringly on Nora's face. And there is an unspoken apology. There is an influx of love, of care, of hope that she is giving you with the last bits of everything she sacrificed to come back. And then with that last flicker of what is her, she shows you what happened here. She shows you how she arrived lost, trying to find a place to call the Jedi, brought here by the Force itself, guided by Edie, who was reaching out for someone, anyone, to help him, to help it. And as she arrived, you can see the Sunrise Crescent landing same place that you landed. You see her trekking the same way that you trekked, doing the same thing, hearing the song and choosing one to be the guide for her. And as she arrived at this gate to the world between worlds, she saw Edie stepping out, hurt, his robotic body falling apart, and this Twi'lek male with both of his Leku strapped together, wrapped together in this vibrant, and you don't understand for a moment what the vibrancy is of his wrappings, but it's the amount of hate that he poured into the act of wrapping his Leku down one side of his body. There is this anger that is in the pit of his being. There is a hatred for Edie, for Jedi in particular. And as this Twi'lek stepped out from the gateway, the fight for Edie was lost. He severed the connection between the head and the body and basically turned him into a rock, which is what he is when he doesn't have a droid body. Ever the carer, the nurturer, your mother immediately ignited her lightsaber, and the sense of justice, the sense of duty overwhelms. It is everything that she is in this moment. It is everything that she has ever been as a Jedi. And she lunges forward to try and stop this dark entity from coming any closer, from moving out into the galaxy. And as she does so, she takes the body of Edie and she flings it At first, it looks uncaring and very much reflexive. But the angle, the amount of energy used, the amount of force that she has called on, you know that she has sent them to the ship. And after an intense fight, there is a moment where there is no other way to stop this Twi'lek. And giving everything of who she is, she focuses on closing the gate, on ending the music. And as she finds the tune, this Twi'lek takes advantage of the dropping of her defenses and plummets his lightsaber through her midsection. Immediately, the ship takes off. And with the last bit of her, she screams. She pushes him into the world between worlds and forces the gate closed with every bit of anger she has in her. She is blazing in reds and oranges and blacks, except for a pinprick of pink, of green, of blue, and of a little bit of yellow that snuffs out as her lightsaber blade cuts out. And again, she flings it out into the cosmos. But the arc, the amount of force is too precise. And it lands in the ship itself. And as she starts to lose herself, the life force of her body ebbing out, the crystals offer her one last mercy. And you see them very carefully, with reverence, with care. They put her on the gateway to this space between. They make her its eternal guardian. And then the vision ends. The ghost vanishes. And the three of you are left there with Prague's husk of a body, the parts needed to reinstate it, and this new man with a little bit of a twinkle in his eye and a smile on his face, just looking around, scratching the scruff on his chin. So which one of you is the captain? Because we need to go to Onderon as quickly as possible. And this is a good spot to call it for tonight. So I'm gonna usher in the voice of Shanky McStabber, if he is still alive.
Nope, I'm dead. Don't worry.
Oh, no.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out and watching this tonight. And thank you to the players. And thank you to Junie for flipping Ravenous Archon the bird. You know, he didn't get me, but that's because you only get me in games I'm playing in. Otherwise, I can compartmentalize way too damn much. So I do thank everyone for coming. Please join us on the Discord. It's on the Discord that the show of this, the cast of this show was gathered from. We do all of our recruiting from the Discord. We do Zoom hangouts from time to time. You know, I happen to know for a fact there'll be a new casting call popping up on Sunday for Vampire Chronicle, so people should keep an eye out for that one. And of course, we just got a cool group of people on the Discord. You should come hang out. If you want to catch back episodes, hey, YouTube. YouTube is for the back episodes. You go over to YouTube, you can see all the Star Wars back episodes. You can see the Mage game that Ravnos Archon ran with us. Windy City, which is coming to an end. We got all the episodes for that. Demon. Let's see. Let's go down the list. Wraith, Changeling, Werewolf, Bluebeard's Bride, Monster Hearts, Nighthawks. We got so much crap on the disc or on the YouTube, even Paranoia, because, well, of course we've run Paranoia. So pop over there and check it out. And if you want to see Call of Cthulhu or D&D 5e, pop over to Ishvael. That's from Tiss, our British GM that runs games with us. If you want to catch some amazing content creators, guess what? 2 of them are right here. Ravnos Archon and the RPG table right here. Might as well let you two tell everyone what you're doing.
You can go first, Junie.
Oh no, I'll let you go because fuck you, emotional damage. Fuck you hard. May you not have lube.
Oh man, so angry. Hi everybody, I'm the Ravnos Archon. I have my own channel here on Twitch. I run Vampire the Masquerade on Mondays. I run Werewolf the Wild West and Legend of the Five Rings on Tuesdays. And every other Thursday you can catch me and that hateful woman there on 7C.
Hateful.
Angry woman.
Yeah, let's get it right. I'm Jeannie Van Esch, playing myself with alcohol at this moment. Why? Because I can on the internet, and that's what I fucking need after that. Holy crap. Yes, he enjoys tearing my soul out, stomping on it, and then bringing it back for emotional damage for more. You can find me here on Twitch as well as on Twitter as Jeannie Van Esch. You can also find me on the RPG table, somebody's channel down there that I play with on 7C on every other Thursday. Also, you can find me on Roll Call, and I am a moderator on Cajun Knights Discord, a play-by-post server for all of your World of Darkness needs. Oh, and I made that too.
And we might as well let Calisalvo up there tell everyone where they can find him, because you can find him places.
Yep. My main hangout is another Discord called Quest Authority, where we talk law and politics and other such things. So if you're a multidisciplinary nerd who doesn't just like RPGs, but also likes other things, come hang out. We also do regular streams where we talk about the law, learn about it, and talk about all sorts of crazy court cases that are happening. Shanky hangs out there a lot, and we just have a lot of fun.
There you go. I posted up the link to the Quest Authority Twitch. You can find the Discord info right there as well. Now, of course, so everybody knows, you can get some studio merch. Trust me, we don't really make any money on this, but maybe we need a t-shirt. I played in a McStabber Studios stream, and all I got was emotional damage from Ravnos Archon. Maybe there should be something like that. That's a little long for a t-shirt, but hell, it's not the worst thing I've put up on the store at some point, you know? I mean,
I'm just glad I wasn't the target tonight.
Yeah, my ugly mug is on a literal, my ugly mug, your boy
Tonight.
Twitch is on a cup. So, you know, I'm trying to think. My brain is going for a loop at the moment. If you want to give something to the players, bits donations go to the players, not studio. It's a way for the viewers to give something back to the players. If you want to support the studio, you go to KoFi, or you can go over to, if you're watching, you subscribe on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, follow the video, like the video, or subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video. You know, all the little stuff that drives up engagement. Let me see here. Schedule this week. Wow, what do we got? Sunday is the Chronicle finale. The end of Windy City After Dark, the final episode. Yeah, over 100 episodes. Season 10, episode 13 is the last one. And, well, one of the characters died last week. But don't worry. His ghost is in the finale. Because, of course, he is. Just because. This is World of Darkness on Sunday, which means I can bring Race in anytime we need. And of course, on Wednesday, you, matter of fact, can join 2 of these players here with me as we do Vampire Dark Ages, Glimpses of History, where you can get Junie and Ravnos Archon as we're part of a coterie going through 800 years of Kindred history. And don't worry, I'm going to tear Will's heart out at some point during this stream. I just got to bait him up a little bit.
You can certainly try, my friend.
You gave me some good leverage in the group. It's okay. We'll see how this one happens. And of course, next Friday, come back here. Watch some more Star Wars. Now, my wife isn't here, but I'm going to first give our mental health thing because we always do some mental health. Please, everyone, take your mental health seriously. Take the mental health of others seriously. Check in on those around you. Make sure they're okay. A lot of times it takes a lifeline, a helping hand, something to keep people off the ledge. And if you suffer from mental health issues like many of us out there do, please don't be afraid to reach out to those around you. But I know that can sometimes be very difficult. And if you feel that you can't reach out to those around you, in chat's a list of numbers you can call or text 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and talk to somebody else on the other end of the line, someone that will work you through it, a professional to help you out. Because listen, everybody, we want you to be around for a while. And mental health is health. And if you don't take care of it, you may not be with us as long as you should be. That's all I got to say. And if you're not in the U.S., I know we have a number of non-U.S. viewers. Findahelpline.com. You go to that website, you put in your country of origin, and you'll find the helplines in your country. So please do that. And now, since my wife isn't here, let me finish the rest of it. Please get your shots. COVID, flu, polio. Jesus, there's a polio outbreak going on again because somebody decided that all vaccines are the devil. Great. Wonderful. Good idea. No. Please make sure you're registered to vote. And unlike my wife, I'm not going to tell you what party to vote for, but I'm going to tell you, look at which party is banning books, banning trans rights, banning women's decisions to make decisions with their body, and which ones have literal Nazis showing up at their rallies and at their protests. I shouldn't have to tell you which party you want to vote for. I can tell you it's the ones that doesn't have Nazis and Nazi flags at their rallies. It's a pretty simple concept. It's not the lesser of two evils. It's Nazis and fascists in one and the other party not. It's pretty damn easy to determine where to go. So that's my statement on that. And I do thank you all for coming. Good night, everybody, and we will see you next time. And hopefully, again, I don't hit the break instead of stream over, because sometimes I hit the wrong one. Good night, everybody.